welcome to Show Up, Stand Out Online Visibility Series for Entrepreneurs. My name is Juliette Stapleton. I'm the host of the show known as the Queen of Visibility, who am I to argue? And today my guest is, I'm very, very excited. I want to introduce you to Gabe Arnold. Gabe, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for having me. This is going to be a lot of fun. It definitely will be. And Gabe is the founder and chief pencil sharpener, I love that, at copywritetoday.net. And it's a subscription-based article writing service, which is, we're going to talk about why is it so important, but it's a brilliant, brilliant service to avail of. So today we want guys to give you some practical strategies, and because of the Gabe's copywriting background, there's some strategies what you can do with your content, with your videos, and how you can maximize the reach and maximize the effectiveness of what you're doing. So basically you can do less and get more results, less time, more results. That's what we want. But before we go into the strategies, Gabe, can you give us the background? Like, what is copywritertoday.net? How did it start, or how did you create it, and what it's all about? Yeah, I'll give you the really quick version. I started out like in the online world, and honestly, like my entire entrepreneurial story is based around tech and marketing and things like that, because I built and sold my first website at 16 for $3,000. And I said, well, this tech and marketing thing may take off. I should pay attention to this. That was a lot of money as a kid. So I actually initially used my skills to build a large construction and remodeling company. But I ended up losing that company in the housing market crash. We had built it to a multi-million-dollar company, but I wasn't smart enough or mature enough or whatever to understand financial management. And so I got stuck for about $250,000, and I lost everything, went bankrupt, everything, a bad time in my life. And coming out of that, I realized, well, how did I build this and what did I really enjoy? And that was, doing all the marketing, because I had done it all through content and building websites and paid traffic and everything like that. So I pivoted into building a bunch of websites. I built 1,000 websites by myself over the course of the next few years. And there was this reoccurring theme that I would see where I would set up a blog for somebody, or I would set up a page and they're like, oh, I'll fill that page in after we launch it. And I could come back 3 days, 3 months, 3 years later, and there's nothing on the blog. There's no updates been done. And I just realized that people really struggle with content, and they struggle with it because they're either don't like writing or, hate it, or weren't good academically, so to speak. And so they associate that with writing content for their site and for their business, or they just don't have the time. Those are two big barriers. I'm sure there's more, but those are two big barriers. And so one day I was listening to the Foundation podcast long ago, and a guy named Dan Norris was on there, and he said, I'm launching this subscription WordPress support business where, we'll do small WordPress fixes and updates for a low monthly fee. And I thought, I wonder if I could do that for content. And so I launched literally that night, because that's how I do things. I put up a website, launched a service, and started asking people on LinkedIn for feedback about it. And it's one of the very few things in my life that was a relatively immediate success. And so early on, I wrote all the orders, did all the content, did everything front to back myself, and it just very quickly scaled. And today we are, fast forward, because if I get way deep in the weeds, there's tons of cool things there, but that's the overview. Today we have a team of over 50 people, and all of our writers are based in the United States. And it's kind of interesting because for a guy that couldn't read or write until the second grade, I now have a content creation team that I get to be a part of. And we help business owners all around the world put out consistent and high quality content that keeps them in front of their audience. And so it's really, really been a blast. And it's important, again, with visibility, it is important to be everywhere. It is important to dominate that. So not only just to be found randomly, and not only when somebody Googles your name, which a lot of people who would say, if you're I don't know, reaching out, cold outreach, they will sometimes Google your name. Who is this person? Do they have any credibility? And to dominate that, it's so important, but also just to be coming up in relative searches, and people discovering you through these things. But yes, it's a lot of work, even if you are writing, like I write my own content, but I do know that I outsource the repurposing, like, if anywhere that it can be submitted or edited and, resubmitted to somewhere just to create that. And it's important
important to have the content on all the time. Because people do check. It's like if you have a business page on Facebook, if you don't post anything there and you don't prioritize it, because I think that you mentioned that, time, or they can't write, but actually sometimes there's, I think, a third very important reason is they don't see it as priority.
Yes.
And that's where they're missing out big time, because that's why they're not investing or not spending time on it, right? So when it comes to creation, and for my my clients and my students, they always say to me, like, I can't, like, I have other things and family and everything. How can I do things in less time, and how can I maximize the effectiveness of what I'm creating? And I always say, well, do it with video to start with, because first of all, you get stronger connection, but also you can do a lot of things. And I know that you have some strategies and you have some tips on how you can take the video and what you can do that in terms of content.
Yeah, no, with the great thing about video is that if you, just like you teach, of course you teach your audience to do, if you're creating relatively short impact, updates, impactful things that you're sharing, who you are and what you're about, then you can simply take that video and give it to our team, and we'll create blog posts out of it. We can, if you give us a series of them, we can create ebooks from them, and then we're going to write it exactly in your own words. And the good news is we're also going to make it sound really well. We're going to edit it for you. We're going to make it really polished, because when we speak, we all, regardless of if you're a professional speaker at the top level or you're just starting out, just so you're aware, we all say like and or we have all these filler words, because that's how people communicate. It's not the wrong way to speak. It's not the wrong way to be on video. But when you read, you don't need the filler words, because we read differently than we communicate orally, right? And so our team can go in and like clean up and tighten that stuff up. And my team does this for me all the time. They'll take, a podcast that I record or something I go live on, and they'll write a really nice article, and it is verbatim my voice. So it's with, when you're doing video and you're doing a short video, really long video, we have a little bit different process. And obviously you shouldn't do super long.
No, unless they're like trainings that you're doing, particularly, and people know
that's a different thing. But for your day-to-day and week-to-week updates that you're doing via video, you can do it once. It can then become, an article. It can become an email newsletter. If you give us 3 or 4 group together, we can make an ebook that can become something that you serve your audience with. And then on top of that, once we've kind of figured out this subscription model that serves our clients, we have a social media service where we can do your posting and stuff for you too, if you ever just need the scheduling or you need some of the logistics done. And so it's just been awesome, because we live in such an amazing age that we have video and video calls and all these crazy things. And now we can really capture the exact essence of our clients, and then they can distribute it multiple places. And I always, I'm going to use the name for the example, because I don't really relate to this guy or align at all with how he behaves, but people will get it because of who he is. I have had people come to me and say, you're everywhere. Like, you're like Gary V. I see you everywhere. And he's a noisy guy that I don't recommend people follow, honestly, in my opinion. But it may be like, but think about that big celebrity or whoever, that mentor that you're following, the person that you feel like, man, they're always in my feed. They're always like, they're teaching me something new. You can do the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. And all you have to do is put in place, the right processes and tools. And so the advantage of using a subscription content service is that we are month after month, week after week, whenever you need us, we're building and planning. And we are now actually rolling out this year a process where we create an entire year's worth of content plan for you. That can drive your videos. That becomes written content. It becomes email. It becomes all these different things. And so then the consistency is handled for you, whereas where I've seen other people fall down, and why we intentionally design it differently, is if you just go to a content service and you buy one article, then you have to go buy one article again next week. And like, you have to redo this work over and over and over. And so our team eliminates all that back and forth. We get to really know you, your brand, everything about you. And then you have consistent content out. And so instead of just doing video, which is obviously very powerful, incredibly important, you now can talk to a completely different channel of people that prefer to read. Oddly enough, I do tons of video and I watch very little video. I would much prefer to read all day than watch video. And so when you're thinking about your audience, there are going to be people that really want to work with you, but they would prefer to get an email newsletter from you, or they'd prefer to, read your blog post. And so when you invest the time, just like, Juliette wisely says here, is make sure you can like multiply the effort out of it. Don't make it a 1-for-1 effort. Take that 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or maybe even that 5-minute video, and then expand it tenfold. Like when it's in writing, there's so much you can do with it, just like you can distribute video multiple places. So that's what's been awesome about it. It's a really great strategy and approach that works well. And it takes all the effort out of, you having to go, oh, now I have to go transcribe my own video, or I have to go do something else with it. That's another.
I love that. I love that what you just said. Actually, guys, Gabe interviewed me on his podcast. Can you drop the name of the podcast and the list?
Yeah. It's
shameless plug.
Yeah, it's Today's Business Leaders. So you should definitely check out Juliette's episode.
Yeah, so when I was on Today's Business Leaders with Gabe Arnold, I was talking about this. I think we were talking about doing things that, or actually really knowing which things bog you down and which things you don't like doing. Like Gabe was saying, he doesn't like filling forms, and I don't like looking at numbers. So, the best thing you can do when there's something that takes time. I love writing. I do long posts. In fact, most of my blog posts start with my Facebook posts, because that's where I write. But it does, in a way, not that it bogs me down, but the idea that I have to sit down and just write an article kind of annoys me. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm also looking for instant gratification. No, actually, I'm not. Like when I'm posting on Facebook, I'm not looking for gratification. I just, I'm there with the loudspeaker and there to choose to listen or not. But I do like sharing. So yes. But still, this whole other thing, the repurposing thing, it can indeed be time consuming. It can also be something you don't necessarily enjoy, and therefore it kind of bogs you down and it slows you down, because you will procrastinate doing these things. Yeah. And it will slow you down. So what I've noticed, that when you are outsourcing things that slow you down, or you can do it, but it slows you down. When you become more focused. So actually what you produce. So for example, I struggle with going on rants on my videos, and just sometimes, going off points. I really struggle, because that's the way my brain works, and I also over deliver like crazy. But when I know that this video is to go somewhere and do something, I will be so much more careful with my bullet points. I will be so much more careful with, and actually that transcends, even though I know it's not part of the written transcription, but I would do prompts like, give me 10 in the comments if you like this, and everything that I forget normally otherwise. So when I think it's an accountability factor as well. And I do believe that the subscription service in that way works much better than a one-off, because it will kick you into action, because that there is a team of people who are waiting for you to do the content, and it's all for your own benefit, and so you can focus on these things that you are enjoying doing, especially if you are enjoying doing video.
Yep.
And we're not going to go into this whole thing about the video, but again, on the same podcast, we were discussing how it's just so therapeutic to actually do video. Yeah, I know a lot of people won't believe us, but it's true. It's a self-empowerment and therapeutic, and it's really, really good for your own growth and just for your feeling good about yourself. Yep. And so, I can just do video, send my stuff to Gabe and his team, and I have my email that it just takes a few minutes to do for me, and I don't want to do that for those few minutes. I'd rather do another video, or maybe another video, or another video, and so I absolutely love that idea. But so if you have just to kind of like, let's give some practical strategies, and I really hope, guys, that you listen to the strategies and then you consider getting help with that, but here's, for example, that, so you can do, we were talking, take one video, right? Then it gets transcribed. So we have our email that you send, and emails are so important, because I follow a few people that I never really look at their pages these days. It's like they're not my obsession at the moment, but I actually still have their emails, and I'm not unsubscribing, because I know that sooner or later something can come up, and there's a reason why I followed them, and it's good to have them daily, or every 2 days, or not once a week. That's not enough. It's good to have, and I want to do that too, but I just literally have no energy for that too, right? So that's where this comes in, and that's where it's so good. And working with the same team is great. They get to know you. There is a great rapport, and you get even more, So but we have anyway. So we have the video, we have the blog, the email that we can send. We have a blog article that we can send. We also have a long post you can post on Facebook. You can post it on your business page. You can create a note on your business page, right? You can create an article on LinkedIn. You can post it in your Facebook group, right? You can post it on medium.com. You can post it on Thrive Global Elephant Journal if it's anything to do with personal or, development or creativity or whatever you were talking about, right? And there's Odyssey Online is another network where you can post these things. And just like giving you like what you can do. Yeah, you can do it manually, but you can also give, get help. Plus you can take little snippets of what you said, because you might have said some really good stuff, and you can create little quote images or just post them as small posts, right? And that is consistency, because I hear that all the time as well. Juliette, you were in there, but there's a lot of things that are automated in my business. And it's in no way fake or, I'm still there. I've produced this. I've said this. I've created this, and I'm authentically there, but it's just that I'm not there spending time doing it there, which I think that's the idea when you are growing and scaling your business, is that you're stepping back and you're letting these things, processes, be looked after by your team or by someone else.
And I absolutely agree. You can do so much with it. And one great thing we also do, which I didn't mention, is that we can also post the content destination for you. So that's based on how many locations it's going to be. Like that's a custom, price essentially based on where it needs to be and the extent of it. But we can post it straight to your WordPress blog, or we can put it on LinkedIn for you. We do all that. So again, you can do the video and be done. Like you can give us that link and then it's over for you, and you can still have great impact. And then you are constantly top of mind to everyone else you, plus other people that are going to see that on multiple different networks, and it's just incredibly powerful. So it's turned into way more than I ever thought it would be day one. But we have an amazing team and wonderful clients, and it's been a blast. So it's just something super powerful that anybody can access now. And it's not like, the things you hear or even days of the past where, it's thousands and thousands of dollars to get a copywriter to write for you. You can create consistent, high quality content, at an affordable price. So
that is actually amazing. What I loved, what you just said, is like, do the video and be done with it. If you're a little bit of a control freak and you like to choose your pictures and things like that, okay, you can choose your picture, but then you're done with it, right? You focus on, you can enjoy. I can go out with my husband and have a coffee and not punish myself and like in my brain thinking, I'm not working, because
writing,
everything is taken care of. But you also deliver much more value as well, because you don't have things that need to be taken care of after this. So guys, we have a link here that you can check out, and definitely, get in touch with Gabe and have a chat and see, because he has a great team. And I think that this is a brilliant service, because when you're growing your business, you really need to, outsource these things. Trust me, you will actually, you'll be able to generate so much more income. That's the first start, fulfillment, because you're more relaxed, right? And just feeling good about yourself, and video where you connect to people so amazingly. This is something that doesn't happen only if you just write and you're not doing video. People don't see you, and it's like they have an internal monologue with themselves. They are just assuming things about you, whatever they resonate with. But when they see you, they can't do this. Because it's the energy, and you just like, okay, what you see is what you get.
And then when they read you after seeing you, then it's an even more intimate conversation. And it's
absolute. And it has to be, it has to be together, because there's also another reason. We're very busy. For example, for me, it's not always possible to watch a video when I'm on the go, when I'm on my phone, but I will read a blog, a post, or, so it's the convenience as well. You have to remember, busy world, so we need to make this experience easy for our audience. And then easy to come into our funnels. And that's how we do it. Gabe, thank you so much for being my wonderful guest today. I think that it was a brilliant, and I definitely, guys, encourage you. I think I just said it, but I encourage you to check out the service and Gabe in general. And even if you don't, just do think strategically about everything you're doing, because you can use existing content, when you don't know what to say, when you don't know how to, you don't have to create a unique something for your email, unique something for your video. You literally just need to do it once and then take that information and reuse it. And that's the secret. That's the success secret. So just right there. Again, Gabe, thank you so much for being my guest. Guys, I will see you in the next episode of Show Up, Stand Out, or you will hear me if you're listening to this on a podcast. And yeah, stay visible. Gabe, anything that you have to add?
No, thank you so much for having me on. This has been a blast, and I'll be glad to come back anytime you want me.
You're very welcome, and we'll definitely be back together at some stage. Guys, thank you and goodbye. Bye.